Hey everyone, I'm Jill Weberding, CEO and founder of Nurse Assure, my healthcare consulting company, and I'm the creator of the Nurse Consultant Collaborative. Now today we are talking about one of my favorite topics, and that is content strategy and messaging. And I will tell you, hands down, nearly every nurse entrepreneur or nurse trying to start a business struggles with this initially. So don't worry if this has been the bane of your existence, if you struggle with a blank page of knowing what to put down and how to convey what it is you do. We're going to get into it right now. Hey guys, today we're talking about content strategy, which is one of the things I'm very passionate about because it has everything to do with messaging. Now, if you're new to entrepreneurship, you may not even really recognize what messaging is, but that's just the way that you convey who you help, what you do, and how you help them. And it does it in a way that creates this connection and desire to work with you. And so if you haven't figured this out yet, messaging is the actual lever that will be the difference between propelling you to rocket success or leaving you dead in the water with crickets. And I'm betting that you would prefer the success over the crickets, because crickets might just be what you're experiencing now. And that, my friend, is no fun. I remember those days before I dove headfirst into the deep end of marketing and mentoring with marketing masters. Now, recognize that you can be the most skilled practitioner. You could have incredible knowledge as a nurse and even create the most amazing solution, whether that's a product or a service. But if no one even knows that you exist, or if when you talk to them, you don't connect with your audience, you will never be successful. And it certainly is not sustainable. Because without paying clients, there is no business. That's a hobby. Or maybe a public service. And in nursing, I see a lot of people who are doing public services, but that's not a business. And I'm here to help you become a successful nurse entrepreneur who runs a business. Now, that's why you're going to want to pay attention today, especially. So first off, don't feel bad if you struggle with this, because in fact, nearly every nurse I have worked with struggles with this initially. It is a skill that you can learn, and I'm going to teach it to you in bits and pieces right here so you can digest it and not get overwhelmed. Now remember, before I helped you lay out the initial framework for what your content strategy for your business should look like. We used my umbrella method, and if you missed that video, you're going to want to go back and make sure that you watch it and map it out, because that lays out the framework so that you're not throwing spaghetti at the wall anymore. Random acts of marketing are not beneficial, and they're grossly inefficient. So once you have your framework mapped out from my umbrella method exercise that I gave you in that previous video, and in fact, I'll even link it below as well, just for the easy button. It's about how to never run out of content ideas. Once you map out your umbrella, you may or may not recognize there's more to it than that, right? There's another layer that you're going to build on, and that's what we're doing today. Right? That's why I'm giving you these digestible bits to chunk it down so you can take small strategic actions that will lead to big results. So the next step, after you've mapped out your framework, is setting yourself apart. And I just want to give you some tips today on how to go about doing this. Now, I'm sure most of you have already come to the realization that you probably haven't created the wheel in what you're doing. What I mean by that is likely it's not brand spanking new. Never been seen before solution to a problem that no one else has attempted to tackle. Am I right? Highly unlikely that is the case, which means that you have some competition in your space, right? And recognize that competition is not a bad thing. I get a lot of people, nurses, who are worried about competition, but competition is not a bad thing. And in fact, I use it to leverage all the time your positioning. Now, in fact, I would probably be more worried if there is absolutely no competition, because that might be a sign that there's no market for what you do. But we're going to address competition in another video, so let's stay on track today. Now, you must be able to tell people why you're different than everyone else. It's imperative. Otherwise, you're going to look like one of these red dots up here. Now imagine, let's just imagine that every one of these little red dots, and I like to keep things simple, so imagine that every one of these red dots represents one of your competitors, right? Now we call that a red ocean, right? There's a great book called Blue Ocean, and I'll put the link to that as well. I'll pull up and put the link to that if you want to dive in deeper into this concept. But to keep it digestible, I'm going to stick with the surface level concepts because it's enough to get you on track. Now, I think about this, a lot when I see, there's a big trend right now about becoming a nurse coach or a wellness coach. Of course, there's nothing wrong with that. However, it does create some marketing concerns. Okay? So first, you don't need to be a nurse to be a wellness coach. Correct? There are wellness coaches and health coaches who are trainers. They might be dietitians. They might just be avid health conscious health and fitness people. There is no requirement when it comes to calling yourself a health coach. So if you are a nurse and that's your passion, that's okay, but you must differentiate yourself. And I would certainly be using the fact that you are a nurse in your marketing because that at least begins to ever so slightly pull you a little bit out of the red ocean, okay? Out of the biggest pool, all right? But you're still pretty close. Okay, so that's not enough of a differentiator is what I'm trying to say. And so after working with some nurses who were coaches and they went through this big, certification program, that was all great, but they still struggled to get noticed and they couldn't get consistent clients. So I've had several tell me that they don't even say they're a nurse before they get to me. They don't even say they're a nurse because they want to be able to help everyone and not be limited to their state. That is a whole topic on itself, again, that I can address. I need to make notes of all the other topics I need to do videos on. That's a separate video. But let me at least say these two quick things. Whether you say in your marketing or not that you're a nurse, when you are a licensed professional, you are held to a higher standard when it comes to the legalities. And so I have spoke with numerous lawyers about this specific issue. And while some may hedge a little bit, at the bottom line, what most are going to tell you is that you're opening yourself up to significant risk. Because at the end of the day, it's not a matter if you advertise that you're a nurse. The only thing that matters is how you are perceived. And if by chance someone has an issue, you can believe that the courts will view you as a licensed professional, and that license is tied to specific locations and scope of practice. So be very careful about going outside of that. All right? We'll talk more about that on another day. But if you're a nurse coach, okay, we're going back to staying on topic. If you're a nurse coach, you need to differentiate yourself. And no matter what you're doing, but this is a great example because I see such a trend of nurse coaches who are staying very general and generic in their marketing. You need to differentiate what makes you different from every other health, fitness, wellness, even any other nurse coach out there, right? What is unique about your service or your solution or you as a person who delivers that service? You must define what your unique mechanism or your unique selling point, your unique selling proposition, that's what they call it in the business world. You have to define what that is. So what is it about you, about your system, what you're doing that is a different take, has a different spin, might be a method? Because if you can't tell anyone why you're different than anyone else in the market, then you're sitting smack dab in the middle of this red ocean. And you're leaving your success up to chance if anyone just happens to randomly pick you over any of these other competitors, right? Are you starting to see how important this is in your business and marketing? I'm guessing that you are. For example, I worked with a nurse who focuses on bullying in healthcare in nurses specifically. It's a great niche. And she has created an entire matrix that is proprietary. She developed it. And so she can use that matrix that is strictly her own. No one can copy it because it's hers. Do you see how powerful that is when she does her marketing and how much easier it will be to get noticed, right? Using something that only she has access to. What she has basically done is created this. She has set herself completely apart of all her competitors. She actually has a whole method, and the matrix is just part of that, but how she addresses the problem is completely different than others in the market. So all her competitors are over here, and they're all pretty much saying the same kind, but here she is over here with her unique mechanism that she developed, and it's completely different. And not only that, she has a whole different angle, right? And as a result, it is so powerful because she can actually speak to her unique mechanism, which is different than what's currently out there and what everyone else is talking about. So in fact, this is how I encouraged her to leverage all this competition and specifically speak to why all of that, all the industry norms, all the things that everyone else is saying and telling you to do, they don't work. And by the way, it's not your fault that you're still struggling. You've been doing what you thought you should do, what you thought would help, what everyone else has been telling you to do. But it's not working, is it? Right? You're still on the struggle bus. I hear you, and here's why. And in fact, it's why I created this, And she goes into her method, her matrix, using her proprietary matrix and her method of how she tackles this issue and this problem completely different than everyone else out in the market, right? So I'm guessing that example probably helped you visualize really what a unique mechanism and unique selling point can do. It can literally catapult you out of drowning in this red ocean and put you way over here by yourself where it's easy breezy to see you. Okay, if you don't know what your unique mechanism is yet, you need to pause and go back and figure that out. Okay, what are your pillars that are part of your business? Is there a method? Are there 3 elements that you have discovered that when you combine them together, they are the magic sauce, right? The magic solution. And maybe others are just using this piece or using this one. They're just focusing on one. And that's why people aren't getting results. So you've discovered, based on your nursing experience and all, seeing what you've seen or your life experience, that when you put these 3 elements together, it's like magic button. Okay? So what is it that is unique about what or how you're delivering your services that's going to set you apart from everybody else? Okay? Now, I need you to hear me on this part. I want to be clear. That unique mechanism is not just information. Okay, information is at everyone's fingertips, especially nowadays with technology. So you can't just say, I'm an expert. Okay, for example, I've spent 23 years in oncology as a nurse. Now, I'm not going to differentiate myself by simply calling myself an oncology expert because there's lots of oncology experts in the world. There's thousands, literally thousands of oncology nurses, lots and lots of oncologists, oncology researchers, and on and on. So just saying I'm an oncology expert doesn't differentiate me. I'm still over here, right? So by now you're probably seeing how that does not get you out of the red ocean. Okay, I need something that's going to differentiate me in the market. I want to be here, and so do you. So particularly if you have education as one of maybe your essential elements or one of your pillars of your business, of your unique method that you use, one of your core elements in your business or your services, you need to have a unique spin on that. What is it? Because again, a lot of education is free. They could do YouTube tutorials all day long, right? Free education off websites all day long. You need something that is unique to you. So what is the way that you deliver it? Is it a style? Is it a method? Is it a different way? What is it? Okay, you have to have a method of how you deliver it that makes it different and separates it from everybody else. Okay, just recognize that alone information is not a business. It's simply too widely available now. It used to be a business like decades ago, but now you actually need something unique that differentiates you in this big red ocean of everybody else who just happens to be in your space. Okay? Occasionally, I'll see a trailblazer in the beginning of their field. That's a level of market sophistication that most don't have. And even then, what I tell them is, you better start running because the time clock is ticking. Okay, recognize that relying on novelty or being a trailblazer, being the first or the first few in the market is a limited time offer and it has an expiration date. It will change. People will come behind you. Okay, you certainly have an advantage because you can get to the market first if you move, if you take action and get yourself out there and really claim the territory and kind of own the market for a bit, but eventually it fills up. Right? More people come into your space. And I've seen this particularly with cannabis, for example. 2 years ago, even just 2 years ago, there was hardly anything you could find about cannabis nursing, and it has exploded, you know? So lots of people are interested in cannabis nursing. There are lots of cannabis nurses out there. Nurses who've gone through programs, who've done training, who've done certification programs, all the things, who are working in some way with cannabis. But my question to them, and I've also had those nurses who've been through another cannabis nursing course, and they get out and they're like, I don't really know how to market, right? They don't know what makes them different. They haven't differentiated themselves in any way. So I have to ask them the same thing that I ask all the nurses I work with. What is your unique mechanism? You need to have something that's specific that makes you different from everyone else, every other cannabis nurse that is out there. And then you pull that into your content strategy. That's the next level, okay? That's what we're doing today. So when you go back to your umbrella, where you framed out your map, right, of your content strategy, the umbrella for your business, and this truly is the first step, so don't skip that. You will get stuck. Go back, watch the video I'm linking below, and, you know, let's say that you're a cannabis nurse, okay? Or you're a nurse coach, whatever. Now you look at, you know, only posting the things that fall under your umbrella, and that'll make sense when you watch the video. And now you can up-level your marketing by adding this next key, which is tying in your unique mechanism. Right? Are you seeing how powerful this can be to differentiate yourself? Because now you're tying your unique mechanism into all these little pieces, components that fall under your umbrella. So you're injecting your unique mechanism in every aspect that applies to your business that falls under your umbrella. It will change your business completely. This marketing changes your business. Okay, so if I'm just saying I'm a cannabis nurse, or I'm just a wellness coach, or I'm just a nurse coach, there's nothing that is making me stand out among all the other people who are in that space, which is why you can hear crickets and why you have a hard time conveying specifically what you do. When you're a health coach or nurse coach and you say you help people live healthier, that is a nominalization. What does that mean, healthier? That could mean 100 different things to 100 different people, right? That can mean anything. So do you help people get better sleep? Do you help them lose weight? Do you help them with stress management? Healthier could mean anything. And so for someone who hears that, how do they know that you can solve their specific problem? Maybe they have no problems with sleep, but they want to lose weight. Or maybe they want the stress management, but they sleep fine and they're at their ideal weight. It doesn't hit, right? What do you do? What problem do you solve? How will they know when they achieve it? It's a nominalization when you use that general language. Okay, so go back under your umbrella map that you did from the previous video, choose one piece to talk about, and now tie in your unique mechanism. Show that you're different and talk about the specific problem that you solve, right? When you start doing that, you're going to start pulling people in to know, like, and trust you. It will build your credibility and authority when you can clearly convey who you help, what you do, why you're different, which naturally differentiates you from the competition. And it builds connection for those who want to solve the problem using your method. You know, the ones that identify with the style, with the method, with whatever the angle is, that unique thing that you're doing, when they connect with that, it's going to make them want to work with you. That unique mechanism really gives people the belief that you can deliver the results when there's so many people in the space who have failed to help them. Does that resonate? When you incorporate your unique mechanism into your content and your messaging, you start to stand out, right? So if they've already seen 10 posts today about losing weight, red ocean, right? When they see your post that speaks about it in a completely different way and gives them a specific method that they've never heard about or have never considered using, it will stand out. Look, nobody wants canned, templated, generic, fluffy stuff. It does not build know, like, and trust at all. Health and wellness? We all know we should choose carrots over ho-hos. That is not a mind-blowing revelation, right? Using general, vague words in your content and messaging does not drive desire. Get healthier, feel better, lose weight, be confident again. Those are all nominalizations. They're not specific, And it's very hard to know if they're actually going to give you what you want. Think about this from the perspective of your audience. Losing weight could mean ounces and still be true. Do you think that's what they're really after? Feeling better? Getting healthier? In what way? And how do I measure it so I know that I achieve the results that I expected? Right? If someone has to question why they should work with you over someone else, you haven't demonstrated your unique mechanism, because it should tell them why you're different. Right? Your content should be building desire for your services before you even sell anything. And it starts by creating a content strategy that is intentional, and you reverse engineer it from solving their problem. So as one of my marketing mentors says, stop the random acts of marketing. It doesn't work. Okay? Be intentional. Be impactful. Be different. All right, guys, I bet your wheels are turning by now. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What was your biggest takeaway from today? And specifically, what are you going to do to start doing differently in your content, right? How are you going to map out your unique mechanism? And if you need help, if you're struggling with your unique mechanism, make sure you comment below and let's talk through that, right? Okay, as always, thanks for watching, and I trust that it served you and your business. Remember, if you found this video helpful, be sure to comment, like, and subscribe so you don't miss any of our resources that help you start and scale your nursing business. I'll see you next time.